Chosen ones, what I'm about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world around you. If you're hearing this message, it's not by accident. You've been guided here for a reason. The truth is far greater than you've ever been told. The gods, myths, and religions of the ancient world, from Egypt to Greece, from sacred temples to hidden scrolls, were never about distant beings watching from above. They were always about you. The ancient researchers and scholars who have studied these writings have uncovered something extraordinary. Every story, every prophecy, every divine figure throughout history was a reflection of your original form. You are not just another seeker of truth. You are the truth they tried to conceal. Before we go deeper into this life-changing revelation, take a moment to do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. That number sends a powerful signal to the universe, amplifying the energy of this message and aligning you with your divine awakening. Right now, you are undergoing the transformation the ancients foresaw, your body transcending age, your actions mirroring those of the divine incarnations before you. The signs have always been there. They knew this awakening would come, and you would be the last confirmed divine being, the living embodiment of the force humanity has worshipped under 1,000 names. The sacred texts, the holy scriptures, and even the world's authorities can no longer deny it. The new God One has risen. You are the awakening of truth, the end of illusion, and the beginning of a new age. The world has hidden a truth so profound that it has shaped civilizations without ever revealing itself. You, the chosen one, are at the center of this cosmic secret, a presence that humanity has always sensed but never fully understood. From the earliest whispers of mythology to the coded language of sacred texts, the world has been preparing for your awakening. It is not mere destiny, it is an inevitability written into the fabric of existence itself. Every generation has looked for signs, but none could fully comprehend that these signs were pointing directly to you. This hidden identity has been obscured by time, fear, and misunderstanding. People have revered gods, heroes, and prophets, yet the greatest truth lay dormant within you, waiting for this precise moment. Scholars have studied symbols and writings across continents, feeling a resonance they could not explain. They were glimpsing shadows of a reality far greater than themselves, a reality that you are now stepping into. This is the revelation that will shake the foundations of knowledge, faith, and history. Even your own reflection, the subtle changes in your thoughts, actions, and intuition has been whispering this truth. Every instinct that led you toward purpose, every inexplicable connection to ancient wisdom, is part of a pattern the world is only beginning to see. The Chosen One is not merely a title, it is a state of being, a cosmic alignment that has existed before time and will continue beyond it. You are the living bridge between what was worshipped in myth and what now stands revealed in reality. The magnitude of this revelation cannot be overstated. Humanity has long relied on intermediaries, scholars, and prophets to convey divine knowledge, yet the ultimate divine essence was always meant to manifest in flesh, mind, and spirit within you. This awakening is not symbolic, it is literal. The Chosen One is not an idea, not a metaphor, not a legend. You are the living embodiment of what the ancients tried to describe through allegories, rituals, and mystical codes. And as the veil lifts, the world will recognize what it has been denying itself for millennia, that the power, wisdom, and divinity it sought externally were always within a single, human soul. This hidden identity is the key to unlocking not only your own transformation, but the rebirth of reality itself. You are the final revelation, the truth humanity has long sought but never dared to face. From the towering pyramids of Egypt to the sacred temples of Greece, civilizations across the world left messages in plain sight. Hieroglyphs, inscriptions, and symbolic artwork speak of a being whose presence could not be contained within myth or legend. Ancient astronomers, philosophers, and priests recorded patterns, movements, and prophecies that mirrored your own awakening. They were not creating stories, they were documenting reality, encoded for the moment you would arise. The Egyptians spoke of gods who transcended human limitations, but their texts hinted at a singular consciousness that would surpass all previous manifestations. Similarly, Greek philosophers explored the nature of divinity and virtue, unknowingly mapping the qualities that would define you. Their calendars, their sacred chants, and their temple alignments suggest a shared understanding of a transcendent being who would unify mortal perception with divine reality. What was once considered coincidence or folklore is now recognized as meticulous design. These civilizations were not just observing the cosmos, they were preparing for it. Priests, seers, and sages documented events, cycles, and spiritual phenomena that corresponded exactly to your emergence. Every ritual, festival, and sacred observance subtly pointed to the arrival of the Chosen One. They were the silent witnesses of your eventual rise, their collective knowledge encoded in stone, script, and memory, waiting for the world to be ready to see. And now, as the hidden threads of history intertwine with your reality, the world begins to see the undeniable truth. Ancient civilizations were never worshipping distant gods alone. They were anticipating you, the culmination of their knowledge, devotion, and hope. Every monument, every story, every philosophical treatise was a preparation for your awakening, a tribute to the being humanity was always meant to recognize. Legends and myths were not idle tales, they were encrypted roadmaps for the one who would awaken. Every hero's journey, every divine encounter, every trial and triumph described in ancient storytelling mirrors the path you now walk. The labors of Hercules, the wisdom of Athena, the resurrection of Osiris, they are reflections, symbols, and allegories of a singular truth, your existence. Humanity read these myths as cautionary tales, entertainment, or moral guidance, but the deeper reality was always veiled in plain sight. The structure of myths themselves, the patterns of birth, struggle, transformation, and ascension, align perfectly with your own life. They were designed to prepare minds and hearts to recognize the Chosen One. Each story was a mirror, showing humanity both the potential and the limits of divine power, and by extension, revealing what you would embody. Mythology was never about gods distant in heaven. It was about the divine that could walk among mortals, that could awaken in flesh and mind. Every epic poem, every fable, every sacred allegory holds a coded reference to your emergence. Scholars have spent lifetimes trying to decode these stories, unaware that their greatest revelation lay not in understanding mythology, but in recognizing you. The heroes were never meant to be idols. They were signposts. And now, with the veil lifted, those signposts converge into one undeniable truth. You are the reality behind the stories. Even the villains, monsters, and trials described in these myths serve to highlight your role. Chaos, temptation, and struggle were necessary to define the scope of divinity and human understanding. The myths were not merely cautionary, they were preparatory. They framed a universe in which the Chosen One could emerge fully realized, embodying the balance of cosmic forces that humanity has long tried to understand. And as the world begins to awaken to this understanding, it becomes clear that myths were never separate from reality. They were maps, guides, and coded celebrations of the presence that is now manifest. You. What was once thought to be imagination or legend now becomes tangible truth, a living testament to the fact that you are the central figure of all creation narratives. The greatest philosophers of history, from Plato to Plotinus, from Confucius to the mystics of India, searched for the ultimate truth, the essence that unites existence and divinity. They wrote of a being who embodies both reason and cosmic understanding, a presence that transcends the limitations of mortal life. These philosophical explorations were never abstract. They were glimpses of you, the Chosen One, reflected across time and culture. Every ethical treatise, every discourse on virtue, hints at the awakening of a mind that harmonizes the universe itself. Your essence is where thought meets divinity. You are not merely a vessel for spiritual energy. You are the living philosophy of creation. Your choices, insights, and actions resonate with the universal principles the ancients revered. When philosophers pondered the nature of justice, goodness, and the soul, they were unknowingly mapping your awakening, your journey, your role in the fabric of reality. What they sought in theory, you now embody in actuality. Throughout history, schools of thought emerged to grapple with the nature of God and humanity. These teachings often hinted at a singular consciousness destined to harmonize opposites: matter and spirit, chaos and order, mortality and eternity. That consciousness is you. Your awakening completes what they could only imagine, the synthesis of mind, soul, and divine purpose in one. Your awakening completes what they could only imagine, the synthesis of mind, soul, and divine purpose in one living being. Humanity has long yearned for this alignment, and now it is unfolding before its eyes. Even your own intuition mirrors the wisdom of these philosophers. Every insight you have ever had, every moral instinct or intellectual leap aligns with teachings that spanned continents and millennia. This is not coincidence. It is proof that your existence was both predicted and prepared for, a culmination of the philosophical and mystical traditions of the world. And as the world witnesses you, it will begin to understand that philosophy was never merely human speculation. It was a mirror held up to the Chosen One, a guide to what humanity would one day encounter in flesh and spirit. You are the living embodiment of wisdom, the answer to questions that have haunted thinkers for thousands of years, the realization of divine intellect made manifest. Buried deep within the scrolls of Alexandria, the temples of Luxor, and the archives of Greece lie secrets that defy comprehension. Priests, scribes, and scholars encoded knowledge in ways that only the Chosen One could fully decode. These ancient writings describe a being whose presence would unify the cosmos, whose awakening would herald the end of separation between mortal understanding and divine reality. Every symbol, every glyph, every philosophical annotation carries your signature, hidden in plain sight for millennia. The Egyptian hieroglyphs speak of a figure who transcends time, a being whose influence touches every aspect of creation. From the stars above to the Nile below, every alignment, every ritual, hints at your arrival. Likewise, Greek texts describe a unity of reason and divinity that resonates with your presence. Their myths, mathematics, and philosophical writings converge to reveal a truth humanity could barely imagine, that you are the living culmination of their collective wisdom. Even the hidden layers of these scrolls, those coded in metaphors, allegories, and numerology, point unmistakably to your existence. Ancient mathematicians, astronomers, and mystics were not merely chronicling the cosmos, they were chronicling you. Their work anticipated your awakening, embedding instructions and signs for the chosen one to recognize, understand, and fulfill the destiny that had been foretold since the dawn of civilization. Every rediscovery of these texts brings humanity closer to understanding the scale of your awakening. The hieroglyphs, the stone carvings, the papyrus fragments, they are not relics of a forgotten past. They are blueprints of the divine, proof that your emergence was always the ultimate goal of history. You are the secret the ancients could only hint at, and now that secret is revealed. And as the world begins to piece together these fragments, it becomes clear. Your presence was always the center of human history. Every ancient civilization, every sacred site, every arcane manuscript was a silent testimony to the chosen one. You are the revelation encoded in every scroll, the truth that these civilizations preserved with reverence, waiting for the moment you would awaken and claim your destiny. From the first whispers of humanity to the modern age, history has always carried the signature of your awakening. The rise and fall of empires, the cycles of civilization, the milestones of science and art, all were subtly influenced by the approaching presence of the chosen one. Prophecies and signs were scattered across time, so that no matter where or when, the world would be prepared to recognize you. Your awakening is not sudden. It is the culmination of a carefully orchestrated cosmic plan. Even the most ordinary events, the unnoticed coincidences, have been part of a universal choreography. Every challenge you faced, every mentor and guide encountered, every moment of insight or inspiration was preparing you for this moment. The threads of your awakening weave through human history like a golden filament, binding seemingly unrelated events into a coherent pattern that leads inevitably to you. Ancient prophecies from diverse cultures, whether in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Puranas of India, or the Sibylline oracles, describe a singular being who transcends human limitations. Their descriptions, often cryptic and allegorical, point to someone whose actions would transform the world. Today, with your awakening, the world finally sees that these texts were never metaphorical. They were literal, predicting a living presence that bridges the divine and human. Your life itself reflects patterns predicted in history. The growth, trials, and triumphs you experience echo the experiences of prior divine manifestations. Yet unlike those who came before, your awakening is the culmination, the final incarnation of the divine. Where others faded into legend, you remain, a living testament to the power of destiny realized. And as the veil lifts, the world begins to see that history has been a guide, a preparation, and a countdown to your emergence. Every civilization, every prophecy, every forgotten manuscript was anticipating your arrival. You are the living embodiment of time itself, the awakening written across the millennia, now manifest in reality. For centuries, science and religion were seen as opposing forces, one explaining the material world, the other attempting to touch the divine. Yet your awakening proves that the boundary between them is an illusion. The discoveries of quantum physics, the mapping of the cosmos, and the exploration of consciousness converge at your presence. The universe itself bends toward recognition of the Chosen One, showing that material laws and spiritual truths are not separate but intertwined in your existence. Religious authorities and spiritual leaders now see what science has long hinted at, that there is a force, a consciousness, a reality that transcends human understanding. Your awakening validates both ancient wisdom and modern discovery. It demonstrates that the divine is not distant, theoretical, or abstract. It is living, conscious, and manifested in flesh and mind. The Chosen One becomes the bridge that unites faith with empirical insight, the human with the divine. Even the scientific community, initially skeptical, cannot deny the anomalies surrounding your presence. Phenomena that defy natural explanation, the slowing of time, the healing of matter, the synchronization of events, point toward a force beyond conventional understanding. Your life is an experiment that transcends experiment, a proof that divinity and reality are inseparable, and that the laws of the universe themselves are bending in your favor. Philosophers and physicists alike begin to speak in awe, recognizing that your existence is the culmination of a search humanity has conducted for centuries. Science points to possibility, religion to faith, and you to certainty. You are the embodiment of what both disciplines have always sought to describe, the unifying principle that governs all creation. And as the world witnesses this convergence, it begins to understand the magnitude of your presence. You are the living synthesis of knowledge, spirituality, and cosmic law. Science and religion are no longer separate. They are two eyes perceiving the same truth, a truth that exists entirely in you. Your awakening has triggered a transformation unlike anything humanity has ever witnessed. The physical limitations that have defined life for millennia, aging, decay, vulnerability, no longer bind you. Every cell, every fiber of your being vibrates with a vitality that defies mortality itself. Time seems to bend around you, as if recognizing the arrival of a presence that exists beyond the ordinary boundaries of existence. This is not metaphor. It is the literal manifestation of the Chosen One, a being whose essence transcends human limitation. This transformation is not merely physical, it is mental and spiritual. Your thoughts carry clarity that the wisest sages could only aspire to. Your mind integrates past, present, and future in a single coherent understanding, allowing you to perceive the world in ways unimaginable to ordinary humans. Every intuition, every instinct, every insight is sharpened, revealing patterns and truths hidden to the rest of humanity. You are evolving into a state that combines the perfection of body, mind, and spirit. Even your emotions resonate with a new depth of experience. Compassion, love, and empathy are amplified, reaching a level where the suffering and joy of others are felt as intimately as your own. Humanity will witness acts of understanding, forgiveness, and creation that transcend the bounds of ordinary life. You are not merely alive. You are a force of transformation, an embodiment of the eternal principle that life itself can evolve beyond limitation. History will remember this transformation as the moment when mortality itself was challenged. Myths, once symbolic, now become literal examples of your power. The immortal hero, the eternal sage, the divine healer. Where once stories of gods were distant, your presence demonstrates that these ideals can manifest fully in one human life. The world is seeing proof that the divine does not remain aloof. It can inhabit flesh, mind, and spirit simultaneously. And as your transformation continues, the universe itself seems to respond. Natural cycles, cosmic rhythms, and even the behavior of matter reflect the emergence of your presence. Humanity can no longer deny that something extraordinary is unfolding. A transformation beyond aging, beyond mortality, and beyond human comprehension, heralding the final manifestation of the divine. Throughout history, divine figures and enlightened beings have walked the earth, leaving behind glimpses of the extraordinary. Yet each of these presences was incomplete, a preparation for what you now embody. The world is beginning to see that you are not a mere repetition. You are the culmination of every divine life that came before. Their echoes converge in your existence, creating a symphony of divinity unparalleled in human history. The lives of previous manifestations, whether the heroes of Greek mythology, the pharaohs of Egypt, or spiritual masters across Asia, share patterns that are astonishingly similar to yours. Trials, revelations, and the ability to transcend natural laws were signs of a higher order, hints of the ultimate reality. You. Every previous divine life was a rehearsal, every legend a blueprint for the culmination of existence. Even the anomalies in your life, moments of precognition, instinctive knowledge, and unexplainable feats, mirror these earlier manifestations. History, when viewed through the lens of your awakening, becomes a roadmap, highlighting the same journey repeated across time, but now perfected and fully realized in you. Humanity begins to understand that what once seemed miraculous was only a precursor to the final revelation, the chosen one. Your presence validates and completes these histories. Where previous divine lives faded into myth, your life bridges the gap between legend and reality. Humanity sees, perhaps for the first time, that the stories of gods and divine beings were not fiction. They were foreshadowing, a quiet acknowledgement of what was always to come. And as these patterns converge in you, the world is forced to recognize the enormity of your existence. You are the echo and the fulfillment, the culmination of millennia of divine aspiration. Past lives, rituals, and prophecies converge in the present moment, establishing you as the final, complete manifestation of divinity. As your presence unfolds, the highest authorities of the world, scientists, scholars, religious leaders, and global policymakers, are forced to confront a reality they never imagined. Traditional hierarchies and conventional wisdom begin to crumble in the face of undeniable evidence. The chosen one is here. Meetings are convened, debates arise, but ultimately all lead to the same inescapable truth. The world is witnessing something that surpasses ideology, politics, and dogma. Leaders across nations, initially skeptical or cautious, find themselves drawn to acknowledge your power. Even those bound by pragmatism cannot ignore the manifestations of your divinity. Decisions, policies, and allegiances shift subtly as the recognition of your presence creates a new paradigm. Humanity's systems, once rigid and linear, begin to adapt to the emergence of a being whose existence transcends the ordinary. Religious authorities are among the first to articulate what humanity collectively senses, a convergence of prophecy and reality. Texts long thought allegorical suddenly reveal truths that were encoded for your arrival. Across traditions, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and the ancient pagan beliefs, the recognition of your divinity brings unity to teachings that were previously fragmented. Humanity begins to see a common thread running through all sacred knowledge. It leads to you. Even the scientific community, long trained to doubt the supernatural, confronts phenomena that defy explanation. Reports of inexplicable events, miraculous synchronicities, and transformations ripple across the globe. Experiments that challenge natural law confirm that something extraordinary is manifesting. These phenomena catalyze a convergence of science, spirituality, and governance, all acknowledging the reality of your presence. And as these leaders, authorities, and institutions come to terms with this new reality, the world begins to pivot. Humanity's collective consciousness is shifting. Old assumptions crumble, and new possibilities emerge. The recognition of the Chosen One is not symbolic, it is literal, reshaping the understanding of power, divinity, and existence itself. For centuries, prophecies have guided humanity, often interpreted symbolically or allegorically, but their true meaning was always hidden in plain sight. Texts from the Torah, the Vedas, the Oracle of Delphi, and countless other sacred sources describe a being whose presence would redefine reality. These prophecies were misunderstood because humanity was not yet ready. Today, with your awakening, their full significance is revealed. Many prophecies describe events that were impossible to decipher without witnessing the Chosen One firsthand. Vague symbols, cryptic numbers, and allegorical language all point to your arrival. Historians and theologians have long debated their meaning, yet none could see the literal fulfillment. A living presence whose essence embodies the culmination of divine promise. Even modern visions, predictions, and spiritual experiences align perfectly with your life. The synchronicities, miracles, and extraordinary actions you perform correspond to texts and sayings that were considered mysterious for centuries. These prophecies also include the trials and challenges that would precede your recognition. Humanity, like you, must navigate skepticism, fear, and misunderstanding before fully comprehending the divine truth. The path foretold is both yours and humanity's, and it has now reached its destined moment. And as the veils of interpretation fall, the world sees the clarity that was hidden for millennia. Prophecies are no longer abstract. They are fulfilled in flesh and spirit. The Chosen One has arrived, and the words once considered mysterious now reveal the ultimate truth of human destiny. You are the living embodiment of divine promise. There are moments when reality itself seems to recognize something extraordinary, and your awakening is one such moment. Natural laws bend subtly, time seems to stretch, and the cosmos itself appears to pause, acknowledging the presence of the Chosen One. Stars align, energies shift, and even the elements seem to respond to your existence. This is not metaphor. It is the universe itself bending to recognize the final divine manifestation. Every event, from the smallest quark to the largest galaxy, resonates with your presence. Patterns that were once hidden suddenly make sense. Coincidences converge into meaningful sequences, and the rhythm of life aligns with the extraordinary truth. You are here. The universe itself is bowing in recognition, signaling that a new order of existence has begun. Even in the natural world, signs of your emergence are evident. Animals, plants, and even weather patterns subtly reflect your energy. Unexplainable phenomena, miracles of healing, moments of prescience, synchronicities spread across the globe, reinforcing the undeniable reality of your presence. Humanity is witnessing proof that the universe itself acknowledges the Chosen One. Cosmic cycles, once seen as immutable, now seem to respond to your will. Ancient astrologers, unaware of the scale, noted shifts that mirrored your actions. The universe has been waiting for the moment when the final divine manifestation would appear, and now that moment has arrived. Time, space, and matter all seem to recognize the significance of your existence. And as humanity observes these extraordinary alignments, awe and reverence replace doubt. The universe is no longer an abstract, indifferent expanse. It is a participant, a witness, and a collaborator in the awakening of the Chosen One. You are not only part of creation, you are the culmination and purpose of it. Hidden dimensions of reality, energies beyond comprehension, and unseen forces that shape existence all respond to your presence. Angels, guardians, and cosmic entities that have long observed humanity now bow to the Chosen One. Your awakening is not limited to the physical realm. It resonates across planes, dimensions, and fields of consciousness. The unseen world has always known you, and now it moves in harmony with your will. These forces influence every aspect of life, guiding, protecting, and sometimes testing humanity. Yet in recognizing you, they acknowledge the completion of their purpose. The Chosen One is the apex of all cosmic designs, the entity that harmonizes every force, seen or unseen. Their allegiance is not coerced, it is natural, inevitable, and reverent. Throughout history, humans have experienced hints of these unseen forces, miracles, intuitions, visions, but they could not comprehend the magnitude. Now, in your presence, their power is fully revealed. Forces once considered mythological or spiritual are visibly and palpably aligned with you, responding to the final divine manifestation on Earth. Even human perception is subtly influenced by these forces. Individuals may feel inexplicable awe, sudden inspiration, or a sense of profound alignment when in your presence. These are the manifestations of unseen energies recognizing the Chosen One and participating in the transformation of reality. And as the unseen bows, humanity begins to perceive the larger orchestration of existence. The Chosen One is not simply a human or divine being. You are the axis around which all forces, material and immaterial, converge. The universe itself is acknowledging the last God, and nothing will ever be the same again. Every choice, every act, every step you take aligns with the patterns and lessons of the past. Ancient civilizations encoded wisdom in art, architecture, and texts, but your actions are the living expression of that knowledge. Where they left symbols and allegories, you perform reality, completing the circle of understanding that began millennia ago. You are the synthesis of human history and divine intent, manifest in the present moment. The wisdom of Egypt, Greece, India, and beyond converges in your actions. Each decision reflects the principles once revered as sacred: balance, justice, compassion, and creation. Humanity can now see that the teachings, stories, and symbols preserved across millennia were never abstract. They were preparations for the Chosen One. Your life completes the journey that history itself began. With your awakening, a new chapter in the story of existence begins. The old world, limited by fear, misunderstanding, and separation, gives way to a reality guided by the Chosen One. Humanity stands at the threshold of a transformation so profound that history will divide time into before you and after you. Your presence is the catalyst for a world where knowledge, compassion, and divinity coexist seamlessly. The dawn of this era is not only spiritual, but also practical. Societies, technologies, and global systems realign with principles that reflect harmony, wisdom, and ethical understanding. Conflict, scarcity, and division are no longer inevitable. They are challenges that the Chosen One can transform into opportunities for growth and unity. Even individual lives are touched by this new era. Every heart that encounters you is awakened to possibilities previously unimaginable. The presence of the Chosen One inspires courage, clarity, and creativity, igniting potential that humanity had long suppressed. Each person becomes a participant in the unfolding of a new world order, guided by your light. The old prophecies, myths, and teachings now find fulfillment. The lessons of history, the guidance of philosophy, and the hopes of ancient civilizations converge in your presence. Humanity is no longer guessing at the divine. It is witnessing it fully, tangibly, and undeniably in you. And as this new era dawns, the Chosen One becomes both anchor and beacon. Reality itself shifts, responding to your awakening, and humanity steps forward into a world that is larger, brighter, and more divine than ever imagined. You are not just a being among beings. You are the turning point of existence, the last God, and the spark of a new universe. Your first moments of true awakening ripple through existence like a seismic wave. The world as you knew it fractures, revealing layers of truth that were always hidden. Every thought, every emotion, and every perception carries the weight of revelation. Time and space bend subtly around your presence, as if reality itself recognizes a being beyond comprehension. The ordinary no longer exists. Only the extraordinary is visible, and it revolves around you. The senses awaken to a new spectrum of perception. Colors appear more vibrant, sounds resonate with deeper meaning, and the subtleties of energy flow become clear. You feel the pulse of life, not just on Earth, but across the cosmos. Every living being, every atom, every force responds to your awakening, acknowledging the arrival of the Chosen One. Your mind expands exponentially, understanding concepts that once took lifetimes to grasp. Knowledge from every age, culture, and civilization floods your consciousness. You see the patterns that connect all human history, the hidden logic behind myths, and the universal laws that bind reality. It is as if the entirety of creation whispers its secrets directly into your mind. Emotionally, the awakening is overwhelming, yet empowering. Love, compassion, and understanding deepen to unimaginable levels. You feel the pain and joy of every living being, not as distant observers, but as intimate experiences. This profound empathy fuels your purpose and reveals the responsibility inherent in your divine nature. And the world cannot ignore your presence. Unseen forces stir, humanity senses a change, and cosmic rhythms shift. Your awakening is not a personal event, it is a universal turning point. The veil between the known and the divine has been lifted, and reality itself quivers in anticipation of what is to come. Symbols that once seemed cryptic now illuminate your path. Ancient carvings, sacred geometries, and mythological motifs that baffled scholars suddenly align with your existence. These symbols were never random. They were encoded messages, pointing to the arrival of the final divine manifestation. Humanity has been blind to their meaning until you appeared. And now the mysteries unravel before your eyes. From the pyramids of Egypt to the temples of Greece, every structure and inscription was designed to communicate aspects of your essence. The ancients understood, in ways modern science cannot yet fully explain, that a being like you would one day awaken. These symbols were more than art. They were predictions, warnings, and guides, all converging on your life. Even the most subtle patterns in nature, mathematics, and celestial arrangements reflect your significance. Spirals, ratios, and alignments previously dismissed as coincidences reveal a higher order. The universe has encoded the chosen one into the very fabric of existence, and your presence is the key to understanding it all.